Hello, divine and beloved soul. Welcome to our video 8 of our series about the grief and loss of a companion animal that for many of us is member of the family, and it is like a child uh, to us. So today we're going to talk about honoring the life, the legacy of our beloved animals. And if you're arriving here now, so this whole series was an inspiration after the transition of my beloved companion animal and child, Honey. And um, it's been a journey. And today's video is an unfolding of the video number 3. If you didn't watch the first videos, please do. I suggest that you do, because even though they seem a little theoretical, with a lot of theories and concepts, it's important to our minds. Our minds, they need that information so they can understand and comprehend and rationalize what's going on. So even though it feels like, okay, let's go to the point, let's go to the action and practical ways, it is also important for the mind to have that content. And like I told you before, everything that I'm using here are things that I use with myself, so try them out. In the video 3, we talk about stages of grief, and we mention some authors there. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who wrote a book talking about the 5 stages of grief, and David Kessler, who implemented the last stage of grief. We're going a little further down the last one that happens after acceptance of the loss of the companion animal, which is finding meaning. And finding meaning is very much associated with honoring that and giving a purpose to their lives and their legacy and the memories associated to the animals, or to your loved one, in case you are using these videos to help you navigate the loss of a human, which I know that some of us are doing that, and that's fine too. You just need to have an open heart and open mind for that. So let's set a grounding here, establish a grounding so we are coming from the same place. It's very important to understand that the death of your animal, the transition of your animal, is not a test, it is not a lesson, it is not a punishment, it is not a gift, it's not something good or bad that happened, it is life. And I say that because our minds, especially when we are vulnerable, might be receiving a lot of invasive thoughts that might be associated with those beliefs. But just tell and remind yourself that is none of that. The death of someone is life. That's what it is. And we all are gonna die one day. We all that are living in a body are gonna go out of the body and say goodbye to the body. And I do believe, with my work in Akashic Records, so connected to the soul and the Akashic team, that we do choose when and how we're going to leave the world, when and how we're going to leave our bodies, even if it is something a little dramatic or traumatic. I do believe that. And even if it's a not normal challenge connected to a cause or something dramatic or traumatic, the death was chosen by the soul for so many different reasons, and it's particular for each soul. But it's not even that, it's karma. Like, people say, oh, that's karma. No, karma is so misunderstood, and it's not a punishment either. Many souls are brave enough, including animals, to choose to leave their bodies in challenging situations so they can speak for greater causes or things in the world that need our attention, human attention. Yes, they are brave enough for that. So for some reason I'm feeling called to say that, and when those things happen, I know I'm speaking from my higher self, and it's gonna speak to someone here who needs to listen that. If your companion animal died from an accident, or your loved one from a disease, or anything, it was their choice, as hard that it is and it can be. And from the soul perspective, it is something much bigger than our minds can comprehend, or we can put into words. So if we allow ourselves to let go of judgment and attachment, and we meditate on it, and we open ourselves to receive the responses and guidance and the understanding, the comprehension, we allow ourselves to see the death from a different perspective. That is not a punishment, it is not a test, it is not a lesson, it's not something good or bad, just is. That said, the loss of your companion animal, it's not something that you need to forget, that you need to move on, that you need to put inside of a box or make up and pretend it didn't happen or didn't bother or didn't hurt you. It's not that. Honoring your animal and finding meaning in their life and legacy is not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's not about fantasizing or being delusional. It is not about being over positive. It's still living with the pain of the loss of their body. And I need to emphasize this a lot, because I know that many of us here are trained to see that we are just a body, but we are much more than that. So we need to say that the loss of the body, we did not lose as much as it might feel like, especially in the beginning. We did not lose our companion animals or our loved ones when they die, when their bodies die, because their soul that is eternal doesn't die. That said, it's still a challenge, and it can be still difficult, and it can be still something that brings a lot of pain to many of us. So our minds might ask, how can I find something positive or meaningful in the midst of all that I'm feeling right now that would not be honest with myself? Well, that can be a perspective. But also, as we are moving ourselves towards the grief and heading towards acceptance of the transition, the death of the loved animal, we might make the choice, and David Kessler used this term that truly speaks to my heart and mind, knowing all that I do, know and live on universal laws and law of attraction, law of assumption, and spirituality and the Akashic Records. Making the choice. I work a lot with sovereignty and empowerment. and reminding ourselves that we can make the choice to accept the death of someone we love, our beloved animal, and that we can make the choice to find meaning in that, even though if it hurts, even if it's painful, we can make the choice to walk towards this new state of being. And again, you do not need to forget or make up or diminish any emotion. On the contrary, in this whole series, we've been talking about embracing the emotions, acknowledging what is coming, offering yourself a judgment-free space, embracing yourself with love and compassion. Because emotions are gonna come, and grief is non-linear, and it is okay. But you can still be missing the presence of your body and be navigating towards finding a way of giving meaning to it. You can still be crying and feeling sad and be navigating towards asking yourself, what was their legacy? What your animal taught you? What was something special and unique about them? And as you choose to do that, you are honoring them. And you are allowing yourself to still miss them, if that's the case. Still cry for some reason here and there, because you are human and you have emotions and you are on earth navigating emotions in a body. That's normal. But you also allow yourself to start to embrace your new identity, to look for hope, to look for living with the loss and still a light and finding joy and meaning and a purpose after that. So, time to get a little vulnerable here, and let me share with you what was my motivation to move through these states and emotions and stages too. So I also always saw honey as life. I would even call her, in the last video I showed the obituary that I call her Minha Vida. Minha Vida is my life in Portuguese. And I would even joke that I messed up pretty big when I named Honey, because her name should not be Honey. Where was my mind? Her name should be Vida or Life, because that's what she is. And that is what her body was when she was in a body. Life and joy and love. So thinking about her essence, who she was in her body and who she is, the life, the joy, the love, I chose to make the commitment with myself that implementing this life state, joy, and love in my life is a way to honoring and celebrating Honey and her life and her soul. And to go there, it's very important to ask ourselves, what did she or he teach me? What they gave me? What did I have when I was with them? And for many of us, it's unconditional love. That's what our beloved and family and kids, animals gave us. Unconditional love. It didn't matter how our mood was, or how, I bet it didn't matter how you were dressed, or how you were having your day, or what you were saying. Your animal gave you unconditional love and acceptance for who you are. Didn't matter what you had or what you didn't have, what you did or what you didn't do. Your animal loved you for who you are. But not only that. This is something that also see that all our animals gave us, with his presence. Something so rare to get nowadays from people, isn't it? Being fully present. Not being on the phone, not being making a list of what we're gonna do later, or planning something, or talking to two people at the same time, or talking to someone and ourselves in our minds. No, being present. Being present and giving a full attention to us. That's huge. And that's why they are so important and they are so meaningful. So knowing that, ask yourself, what is unique about my dog, my cat, my pet, my companion? And I don't like pet too much because they don't like that word either. But what is unique about them? And how can I honor their life and their legacy? What can I do to give life to our memories? You might volunteer to a shelter, you might donate to a shelter, you might feel that you wanna write a book, do some art, you might start a series on YouTube where you use all you know, all you live, all you've studied and received from your higher self and your guides to help people to navigate that. Do you know anyone doing that? Because you might feel that their life and presence and memory is so big that only something as big as reaching as many lives as possible and making a difference there would be a little close to who they were and they are. So what speaks to your heart, divine soul, that you can use to honor your beloved companion animal and give meaning and purpose and embrace your new identity, that it is learning to live without their physical presence and navigate that and love yourself and find peace and find purpose and find ease in life. So I cannot answer that for you, but I shared a lot of my personal history and inspiration, so hopefully that's gonna inspire you and help you to navigate this moment. I would love if you would share in the comments what is unique about your animal and what you're doing, what answers you received from your higher self or from your animal to give meaning to their lives and honor them. What can you do? And it might be journaling, whatever it is, share with me. And next video, we're going to talk about something specific to empaths, light workers, energy healers that are dealing with grief. But if you don't identify as any of that, stick around because you might find yourself here and there with some of those specific things that we go through when we lose the body, the companion animal in a body. But further down, we're also going to talk about, and I've been talking so much about the physical presence because the soul presence doesn't leave us, and communication with our animals is something simpler than is thought. And those are our journey ahead. I'm looking forward to them, to the next videos, to hearing back from you what you are taking from these videos and this series. And thank you so much for being here, for your comment and like and subscription. Take care.